Testing. Welcome. We are in the later days of Steel Hearts and Rusted Souls. Tonight's episode is the last bi-weekly episode of Steel Hearts, Rusted Souls. Tonight's episode, Season 5, Episode 3, is Ariel's Prosperous Raging Storm. But that's in Walkerton. Hopefully Nikki never goes back there, right?
Not planning on it.
Also, there's the old axiom of, in character, you don't know shit about game mechanics.
Not in the foggiest. And speaking of foggiest, not having ideas, do we have any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or corners we'd like to round off as everyone remember where we last left our characters?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know where the character is.
Wherever we were, deep shit.
And once again, I apologize in advance for Haley.
All right, so that being the case, I'd like to say for the last time this month, in preparation of our next month's episode with the coterie of Gary, I am very, very thankful for all the moments we had to share with these characters, and I'm looking forward to the moments that are still yet in the offing. Play matters to me. It has proven to be very therapeutic. It takes us away from our world and gives us an opportunity to explore a boundless horizon. And while the world is dark, those small, brief, flickering, failing points of light matter all the more. And those choices that we make to explore those darker, deeper shadows, there's nothing like it. There is no other moment that is as evocative and enjoyable. And for all those moments that you guys have helped provide to me, thank you, and thank you. And without much further ado, this is officially Season 5, Steel Hearts, Rusted Souls, Episode 3, Ariel's Prosperous Raging Storm. Now, I purposely mispronounced that as Ariel instead of Ariel, because that very much is a moment of being under the sea, down where it's wetter, surrounded by all the pressures of the deep, dark ocean. You guys are so far into the thick of things, so far into the mix of it, that there is another entire ocean as tall as the highest mountain on earth above you to get you back to a semblance of normality. As you all sit in the vehicle, the key in the ignition, the lights shining on, the moment sitting here before you, with the vehicle rocking beneath each, the gentleman waiting calmly as if he's knocking on a neighbor's door, asking for a small cup of sugar. What do we all do?
Look at the guy.
His hair slicked back, immaculate. His dark skin, unable to continue holding a tan, still has a small bit of warmth to it, despite him clearly being a member of the kindred. From a distance, you would expect him to be any high-ranking member of some police force anywhere in America. His tie, just wide enough to present the image of power. His shirt, immaculately starched and bright. His suit, fitting in a way that lets you know it was purposefully tailored to seem so. He could be hiding any number of weapons underneath that blazer or at the base of those pants. He could be behind the desk at any police station anywhere in America, including Quantico or Langley or some other such. But it is his state being undead that stands out all the more at this distance. The casual strength, the well-trimmed goatee, and those eyes, dark enough to seem threatening and light enough to seem intriguing.
Gigi is going to groan fairly loudly. And which side is he on? Is he on the passenger side or the driver's side?
He's on the driver's side.
Haley, switch seats with me, Shug. I think I need to talk to this guy. I know I was not expecting him, but I don't think we should keep him waiting much longer, it seems.
All right. And then she'll slide over, under, however that's going to work.
What is Haley's dexterity -1, and what is Gigi's dexterity?
I got a 1.
All right. And Gigi?
I'm at a 2.
3 out of the much needed comfortable 4. Means that while it is successful, the maneuver sliding past one another, there is a moment of precious seconds passing by as the stumbling, fumbling, slightly stepping on, trying to not step on the tail of the hem of the pants, trying not to get caught up in the pants being a little too tight or the skirt getting in the way, and fumblingly, you all drop back into your respective seats. Haley now on the passenger side and Gigi now at the driver's window. All the while, Nikki sitting there in the back seat. Leonetti and Mac equally deaf, dumb, and blind.
I roll it down just enough to be polite, but not so that he can reach his hands in. Good evening.
Good evening. And he looks past you as he says this, looking at each of the faces of the kindred in your backseat, looking at the other members of your coterie, and then he looks back to you. It seems as if you are missing someone. Where is Farmer?
I mean, I wouldn't...
You mean Judas? Somewhere being chased by cultists, if I remember straight. That was the other evening. They might have caught him since.
I see. And
he had a little issue where he meant to spit but actually swallowed.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. However, there's a small matter of an excessive amount of funding that is suddenly missing from my coffers. Would you happen to know anything about that?
I would assume it has something to do with him saying he could help whoever it was that was trying to keep us captive and use us as sacrifices. As I don't quite know who you are, though, I can't say for sure.
So since we don't know who you are, we had nothing to do with your money. You're missing money from your coffers.
Haley will look concerned for a minute because she is missing some time, and that sounds like something she would do.
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your composure and resolve? You're gonna need a DC 3. And as you all speak, you notice that the other two have eased alongside of the vehicle. There's a standard hovering maneuver that you've all seen several times before, sometimes in cop shows, sometimes in books, and unfortunately also sometimes in actuality. The last time you all were stopped by the police and the presence with Farmer, one of the things that the police on the side of the road attempted to do. However, in this moment, watching it being done by people on foot, there's an unsettling factor to it. And it's not the fact that they are doing so, it's the confidence in which they're doing so. Most times the covering maneuver is used like for like, i.e. a vehicle that weighs almost 3.5 tons, and they are moving in a position to physically stop it if things got a little out of hand. And then he raises a light quirk of the brow, looking at Haley, then cutting his gaze to Nikki, and back to you, DJ. Are you sure you have no idea as to what may have happened to Farmer's funds? I understand that it's easy to confuse what may have been his with what may have been mine. Perhaps I should introduce myself. And he offers a hand. He raises it up to the open window, fingers outstretched. I'm Maxwell.
She kind of glances at the hand for a minute, but sorry. Her inner Southern belle wins out because she was taught to be polite growing up. Takes his hand, shakes it once, twice, and that's let's go. Genevieve. I know I have not heard your name before, sir, before this evening, but if it's got something to do with that there computer type stuff, unfortunately, I had nothing to do with that. I'd break a computer if I touched it.
Nikki, what's your occult?
It is. I'll be surprised to see. Oh, there's one. Hello.
Yep, I'm still here. I'm trying to decide.
Oh no, I thought I lost everybody.
No, trying to decide based on Nikki's age and that brief skimming understanding of kindred society. Is there a chance? It's a small one though. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your intelligence plus occult? Your DC is 3.
Where am I at hungry anyway? Okay, cool. If I'm correct, I'm at 1. I will vouch for this. Give me just a second. Okay. At least I get 2 more. You said 3, right?
Yes.
What the fuck? Yeah, I forgot I can't willpower all this.
Sure you can. Shows that as an option. Hit that little black dot on the left end under your...
No, I know. This happens every time I play. I do it and it won't do anything.
I give it a quick click. Things change.
Yeah, not in this case.
Okay. You can always do an... You have enough. Yep, you actually do have enough. You can go ahead and hit IV3.
One success.
Chicago is a weird place. It has always been a spiritual nexus for a lot of the supernatural world. There's been even the non-supernatural world. It was a place where the tribes of the area, the first persons of the areas, they came to meet, to trade, to hold effectively UN conferences for peace. John Point DeSable set up his trading camp here. There was Fort Sheridan. Has always been an epicenter of things. The founding prince of Chicago, supported by the inner council, his name was Maxwell. He was a tall Caribbean American, long, dark, black hair, and over the years, varying degrees of facial hair. He was betrayed, laid low by Loden, who was the former longest reigning prince in the area. There's something that people say all the time: never meet your role models, but just meeting someone who destiny has had its hands upon is equally bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to unintentionally accuse you all of anything. But it is very pressing and important that Farmer arrives here to answer for his hopefully just simple carelessness. Where did you all leave your particular Judas?
He was with the tree cult.
We left him in Walkerton, but I suggest you talk to us there.
You ever seen the movie Children of the Corn? It's just like that, except for there's a angry demon god that it was in a tree that I blew up. But mind you, they still have a cult there, and if you go to the town, you get stuck in the town until there is somebody to trade places with you. As far as I can tell.
It's like children of the corn, but worse.
But she blew up that tree, so we were able to leave.
Nikki kind of leans to Gigi. I wasn't going to tell him all that, but
So I'm guessing if you were to go to this Walkerton place, since we blew up the tree, you would also be able to leave.
Walkerton. Is there any way you might be able to lead us back there?
no. I'm pretty sure your GPS can find it. After the ordeal you just heard me went through, you can understand our reluctance. I'm going back, couldn't you?
As much as I enjoy being helpful, I don't even know where I am at the moment.
I see. Very well. Enjoy your evening.
Is he a human?
He's humanoid.
Can I ask him a question? Nah, I ain't even gonna do that. Actually, can she do that? Yes, you can. Okay, never mind. Proceed.
I mean, would it help at all if you had his, what do they call them things, towers? They're probably in that building.
There is unfortunately no technological equipment in that building. It's one of the many reasons why there is some small measure of trepidation mounting.
I like your beard.
Do you know of the farmer's market? He might have some stuff left there too. I don't know whether he cleaned it out or not.
Sadly, that falls completely into the purview of the Baron of Gary. Very well. Thank you for your assistance. I'm sorry to disturb you all.
Well, he seemed nice, didn't he?
I suppose.
I mean, he knocked at everything.
Yeah. Very strangely polite, but anyway, I think we should get on our way going towards where we were going, because now I have no intentions of going into that school at all.
Where were we going?
I think you'll like it. It's a club. It's called Silks.
You're right.
What sort of club? Am I dressed right?
You're perfectly fine. There's all sorts at this club. And Gigi is going to very carefully making sure that none of his cronies or friends are still standing behind the car and back up and then turns towards Silks.
The drive across Gary, unlike the last few weeks, is surprisingly tense for all the right reasons. There's not an extraordinary presence of police on the street. The endless fortune poured into supporting the GPD seems to be reaching its nadir. It seems to have reached that apex point, and now you're just about to the other side of that hill. The influx of cash, influx of manpower, having turned the space into a gauntlet every night, not knowing when you might be stopped, not knowing when you might be harassed, seems to have begun its downward turn. It takes a few blocks as you make your way toward the expressway to shoot east towards Salacious for you to realize that there's less police present. There's less bodies and less cars on the street. There's less patrols that you've passed.
On the way, Haley asked literally. On the way, Haley asked literally 50 questions about the club and tells at least one story that goes nowhere.
There's something strangely comforting about the prattling. There's something strangely comforting about heading to Salacious with someone else, with another kindred for the first time. Because there's not much to look at from the outside. It is purposefully down at the mouth. It is purposely a place where one would not assume any semblance of luxury. It is purposely designed to be externally the very real opposite of what it is. The doorman, seemingly recognizing Gigi and Lasky and Leonetti, give you all the once over. But they move the velvet rope and allow you all inside. And yes, they actually do have the good old-fashioned red velvet ropes to denote where the line starts and who can get it at the head of the line and who can slide in without greasing any palms. And they look you all over, and not for the first time in Haley's life, her being young, attractive, and seemingly rich has worked in her favor. Because as far as she understands in this moment, the doorman looked at your group, your ragtag, barely dressed, loosely abused group, and it was the fact that Haley, and even smudged and dirt grimed as she is, was with this particular group of people.
Hello, this seems seedy. I'm all tingly.
And the moment you make it through the foyer, the moment you make it into the club itself, it opens up as if you walk through a cave of wonders into the center of the earth. There are so many different social flora and fauna present, all luxuriously draped, all putting on the show of their wealth. And it is not them that stand out. It is those who are not ostentatious. There are those who clearly work for a living. Mixed among this group of well-heeled nobodies are people living and dead with actual power. One of the many things that is often overlooked, purposefully so in most cases, is that the toreador of the Midwest, directly, specifically, and the toreador in general, are masters of social engineering to the point that they purposefully seem inept. They purposefully seem out of sorts, out of place, while operating the largest intelligence network in Kendra society. They would use their charms against Nosferatu and Banu Hakim and Gangrel of all sorts. They use those gifts that everyone overlooks to glean bits and pieces of this and that and circulate amongst themselves and pull all the wealth that they need in a situation to them, all without painting a target on their back, usually. Subtly controlling and manipulating the ebb and flow of social conscience, slowly turning the heads of state to their whim and their will, either with the lightest touch imaginable or with the full social hammer of the might of their presence. And here, in this teeming pit of depravity, you see it in full effect. While others may not easily notice it, the donors, the bartenders, the waitstaff, even the doormen are working an angle. The small conversations, the being seen, the being not seen, all playing the game of manipulation. So yes, in short, Haley feels as if she's died again a second time and gone to heaven. It's as close to an actual high she can get without imbibing any other substance. She's in the rarefied air to which she had been created. Well, to be perfectly honest, the rarefied air to which she had been killed for.
Haley bounces off.
Having met Tyven from a distance and knowing him, go on, you're saying?
Well, now, she's amongst her people, it seems. And that was pretty much.
Having met Tyven from a distance and knowing him as Silk's second, seeing him at the railing, her railing, is a bit interesting. Because while he is not as much of a force as Silk was, while he is not as much of a force as Urzu is, it is clear that he is pulling the strings and trying to mount an affirmative presence amongst these people. And you look toward the balcony and you don't see Urzuli and you don't see Silk, but you do see Tyven.
Looking towards Nikki. Well, it's not who I wanted, but he can get who I wanted. I suppose we should go talk to him.
It's better than nothing. And she, Nikki, will follow Gigi.
Gigi puts on her best butterwood melt smile and smooths her clothing, stepping up to Tyven. Well, good evening, darling.
Why, hi. Hello. It's such a pleasure to meet you. And he extends his hand, but not in the ways you would normally expect as such. There's no sliding in for a nice, firm handshaking. Maybe a one-armed hug. No, it is very much a fingers down, wrist extended first to Oh, okay. So, what can I do for you? Why are you here?
Well, darling, we were sent on a little bit of a mission for our lovely Baron, and we have returned from said mission and would like to give her the information that she requested. If she's about, or you can reach her at some point this evening.
It is funny you should mention that. And yes, I can do that, of course. And I hate to sound crass, but I really must ask. Because there's a way that these things are done. What is in this for me?
She leans in and smiles. What would you like to be in it for you?
And Simon looks at Nikki, up and then back to you, then back to Nikki. If I've learned anything, it is never to price myself out of contention. And judging by your look, I would be a fool to judge you by, and he motions his hand from shoe to head and back at both of you all. His elbows, of course, closer to his body, his hands closer to his face as he motions with the tips of his fingers. Not quite a full-on shoe moment, as in shoe go away, but it's very, very close.
Wow, that's very cute. You do understand that we've had a little bit of a rough week, and this is not how I normally dress. I don't know if you've heard or not, but my name is Gigi Gardner. I'm sure my name holds a little bit of weight around here for the things I've done.
So does your frame, but I would be rude for me to say so now, wouldn't it?
Bless your heart. Besides, ain't nobody ever complained about these curves. Anyway, I know I'm not your type. Back to what I was asking politely for you to do for me. I'm sure if you get the Baron, she will be more than happy to make it worth your while, seeing as how she was waiting for this here information. But if you hold it up, I can't say what's gonna happen.
Why don't we do this? You pay for a suite. I'll get you one of our Motel 6 rooms, something in your price range, of course, and I'll arrange a call, maybe a text to the Baron. Because after all, nothing for nothing. And if it has value to the Baron and it has value to you, the least you could do is attempt to pay your way. And at that moment, as he says, attempt to pay your way, as Haley is literally riding the music. It's not quite cartoony. Her feet aren't floating above the ground, and she's not dragged along by the scent of some pie or delicious sandwich. No, she's dragged along by something far, far worse. She has spied a deal in the offing. And where there's a deal in the offing of such sweet, illicit materials, there are those who partake. And where those who partake are partying, that means that they are a little less aware. They are sweets for the sweet, little morsels of uppers and downers and all sorts of in-betweeners that you can sample, taste like little individually flavored gumdrops. Each one with a different sweet succulence. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your composure plus streetwise for me, please? Your DC is 2.
I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that my specialty in drugs applies.
Yes, it does. You've marked the dealer, you've marked the plug, you've marked the hangers-on, you've marked the security, and you've marked the hangers-on of the security. Those middle to lower echelon groupies who would do so very much to even the security, to be in the area, to be in the environment. And these children, these adult-minded adults aren't far enough gone into their addiction where they begin to show the pernicious effects of it. They're still the beautiful, fresh, young, immortal youth. And you are very, very sure that each and every last one of them would have such a distinct flavor as to make it absolutely tantalizing.
Well, Haley thinks that it is time to organize a party.
Well, there's partying, and then there's partying. Both can land you in a similar place, but in this particular case, in this particular environment, with the club in full swing, what idea of partying does she have?
Well, we've got all these interested parties and hangers-on. The more the merrier. She's not specifically hungry, but she can always eat.
Sliding in amongst them. How is she making her approach? What is she attempting to do?
I'm assuming she's cleaned herself up at some point, but she will slide into not necessarily the guy who's in charge, but maybe like his second, one of his security guys, maybe.
Okay, go ahead, roll charisma streetwise. Your specialty of drugs still applies. And we'll take a small contest with his wits and security. How on the ball is he?
Now, does my looks merit also apply to this roll?
Yes.
And you said DC was what?
Contested.
No. Drugs are involved. I think I'll willpower.
He's initially wary. He gives you the stink eye and starts negging you, which is a common tactic of would-be, wannabe players to get in the pants of those they find attractive. For all of his intentions to draw you in without you noticing it, without you realizing it, he ends up assisting your efforts to get embedded within this little group of partiers, this group of entrepreneurs. And as that's happening, Nikki, you're watching this conversation take place, and it's very much a conversation about the selfishness of tithing. There's no ifs or buts about it. There's the very real, clearly definable intentions to put themselves in the best position possible, which may very well or could very well screw them in the long run. What is it that you're doing? They've already insulted Gigi, incidentally, potentially, but you think that it may be a good deal more intentional than that.
Could we please be pleasant when we have conversation? That's all she'll say.
I am doing an absolute work of God. I am being pleasant. I have not. And he looks at your ensemble. And while it's work a day, it's clearly that you haven't had the opportunity to get home and get changed into something cutting edge or otherwise. But yeah, there's definitely the catty need to be master of this moment that seems to be rising. Now, I haven't judged anybody harshly, and I am being nice, but this is a business. This is not a charity. So no matter what your end goals are, there's a cost to everything. It is a small price to pay to deliver yourselves into the good graces of our undisputed Baron of northwestern Indiana. Right? Am I right or am I right?
You are correct.
And as I will be taking over for my sire, Silk, to make a friend in the long run. Because we'll be opening, you know how it is when you open a new business. We're opening another location just across the border. So, while Silk is all hands on deck, I will be your servant. So, one of our more moderately priced suite of rooms.
Nikhil looked at Gigi.
Gigi normally, even though most of her business stuff is scattered right now and at different places for safety, she normally keeps a corporate credit card on her. I don't know how much that would have on it in general, but she hasn't been using it lately, so she will slip that out of her wallet and hand it over.
Oh.
Good enough?
Well, it's not a personal checkbook, which is always a good thing. We wouldn't want to put you into harm's way financially. So we'll go ahead and pre-authorize and make sure that there's enough value here. And while we do that, and he just hands it two-fingered over his shoulders, expecting one of the staff members who knows what to do will be there, as they would have been for Silk, as they always were for Silk, as they always were even for Azuli. And there's no one there. He clears his throat and catches the server's attention, who comes over with her silver tray and places the card on it. A standard pre-auth. Please. And she moves along carrying the card. There's no impetus to rush, to quick step. She moves as if she has literally all night, as if she's paid by the hours that are paid by the tip. She doesn't have to hustle and flip tables. It's almost as if she has a union job. But she makes her way on her way.
Out of curiosity, because the amount of time Gigi has been here to do her exchange of information and work little jobs for them, does she know that server, or is she familiar with that server?
Specifically, no, but she is wearing the uniform of someone who normally works the VIP area. Not the balconies, not the landings, not the public spaces. She's normally one of the servers who also operates as a donor. Which makes sense. There are still many who fetishize hair color, natural hair color, such as a nice, deep, almost blood red, bright green eyes. All of those little small exotic features that aren't really all that exotic, but people pay top dollar for. They're donors. But she's out here serving. And then as you are taking her in and trying to place where on the floor she's from, where you've seen her before, you realize that Anika, the albino from Nigeria, instead of being in and around the savannah room, she's out here on the balcony as well. She's a top earner. Her skin is creamy, silky smooth. She has bright, almost watery blue eyes, and her hair, a shock of platinum, wave after wave of curly hair. She's out here on the balcony serving. Look across to the other side, the other balcony, where normally there's no one there because Soak doesn't like to be offset and she doesn't compete with anyone. But yeah, there's a party there, and in that party of people, mixing and mingling and clearly snorting some powdery substance in public instead of in one of the suites, you see Haley and her crowd of partiers as they're harassing, not purposefully, but in their carelessness, the server, their waitress, a strapping 6'4" gentleman who, just by dint of size alone, you know for a fact is from the Gladiator suite downstairs around the corner, down past the Dragon Room, where certain members pay extra for tall, muscular, strong-backed individuals. Instead of being in his usual gladiator attire, he is dressed in the less than standard attire of a server. And he's bringing drinks instead of making top dollars a donor where he normally is.
She raises an eyebrow, looks back at Nikki, and then makes note to herself to call Silk later and ask her some very direct questions and maybe drop some information about how the club is currently being run. Some might call it tattling, but she calls it informing. But out loud, she's gonna vaguely. I mean, so she doesn't care if she's overheard. That's interesting. Never seen her out of the Savannah room before. Normally, I mean, she make Planet Bank in that room. I don't know why she'd be serving, but I guess.
To each their own.
I'm sure that you don't understand anything about business, but I will inform you a little bit, just so that you are aware. We are an equal opportunity employer, and we believe that everyone should have the understanding of every aspect of the business. So being cross-trained is very important. What if someone calls in sick? What if someone needs help? And don't you think that you, as a guest, deserve a certain level of service? Anyway, while we wait for that pre-auth, and he lifts up his glass of wine. Again.
It's cute that you think I don't run a business.
Oh, really? What do you run? Do you do nails or hair? Let me guess, you do dreadlocks, don't you?
It's a law office, actually. Thank you very fucking much.
Oh, I'm sure that is quite popular. You probably handle all of the little taverns from around the corner, don't you? But let me give you a little bit of something good to drink on. And he grabs up his bottle and pours a glass for each of you and hands it to each of you. A toast to your card being authorized and the start of a friendship. All right, folks, get your glasses up. Come on.
We'll hear a raise up.
She takes the glass, but I'm pretty sure with the amount of... Normally she doesn't get this rattled, but the fact of everything that's happened in the past couple of days, and then that last little bullshit thing with the guy knocking on the window, looking for Marcus. Her oblivion is probably leaking. The fist is balled up at her side, but the other hand is on the glass, and she's raising it to her lips to drink, but I'm pretty sure.
And there's the touch of death. See, that's what you are. That is what all magisters are. They are the embodiment of the other side. Oblivion speaks and acts through them at the mercy of their emotional equilibrium. Would you be so kind as to roll your resolve plus composure? Your DC is 3. And yes, just so you have an idea as to how we came up with that number, it is your Bane plus 1. You managed to keep the shadows from lurching and lunging and attempting to strangle or worse people in your area, but just barely so. The glass creaks and strains under your grip. And there's a few people who are in their cups who notice it being a little darker. You see people adjusting their glass, taking their glasses off, and you see a few people trying to peer at their Apple Watches, and a few people more who are trying to check the time on their phone, having to do so 3 and 4 times as they take their phone out of their pocket, they look, they put it back, they take it out, they look again, and you see all of these little small things that let you know that your equilibrium is being rocked, is being pushed, and you keep from lashing out. You keep it from lashing out, but just barely so. While across the balcony, in the party group with the drug dealers, the hangers-on, the security, their second in command, and all those sorts who have no problem being what they are. They have no problem. They believe they have the rest of forever. Young forever at a cost. Then they will never die. And everything will always be the party that it is in this moment. Haley felt like she came home when she walked inside Salacious. This portion of Salacious, this corner of Salacious, the huge frost giant that is your server, the mean, malicious jokes at each other's expense, the carefree feeling that this night will never end. It is too much of home. It is so very much everything that she self-medicates herself away from. It is every facet of who she once was that led to her no longer existing, that she refuses to address. And it's laid out for her. She can almost color by numbers and know which of them are doomed, which of them will not see this time next year, which of them will not see the outside world ever again.
Well, that's a bit of a buzzkill. She's having decidedly less fun all of a sudden.
What's wrong with you? Come on, cheer up. Come on, drink, come on. And the one she's glommed onto, the one she's picked out for her particular entry point into this group, the one that she knows is just strong enough to outlast the demons that are hounding him, is pouring her a shot, pouring himself his third one from the bottle they purchased. The third bottle they purchased. The first one was accidentally on purpose knocked from the server's hand, so they would have to watch him clean it up. The second one, well, they poured half a shot for everybody that was in the area, and it was going far too quickly. This one, they're hoping to get a few decent shots out of instead of just pouring thousands and thousands of dollars onto the table.
I mean, I'm not much of a drinker, love. Is there anything else you've got?
It's not because you like drinking that you're gonna do this. You don't get it. The vodka will balance you out so you can go all night. You don't want to get nose burnt before it's over. Take the shot. Come on.
She will take the shot because she doesn't care how horrible that turns out.
Liquid ass. And no, not human derriere. Liquid donkey. It's hairy, it's vile, it smells like a farm. It is stubbornly refusing to go where you want it to go, which is at least just hit your stomach. It seems to be caught in the back of your throat and is attempting to burn its way out through your spine. This vile liquid ass is beginning to buck. You haven't even gotten it all the way down yet, and it's being stubborn and frustrating and refusing to play along. Now, most even remotely compassionate individuals, seeing the effort on your face, they'd offer a bucket. They grab your hair, or they try to turn you away. They may even, jump out of the way themselves while turning you so that you would be less embarrassed with whatever is going to come flying out of your mouth. These are not compassionate individuals. Maybe at another time they might have been. But in this moment, in this place that they exist in, they very much are wild heathens. They are animals. They are lost to their own vices as they peddle poison for the masses. And so you get one slap on the back, then two, come on, get it down. Then three, the other girls at the table, who some of them are dealers, some of them are hangers-on, are pointing and laughing. Oh my gosh, she's gonna puke! She can't handle her alcohol. And you can almost see the mental bets for how many seconds before everything inside you lands all over the table. And they're so careless and callous, they're not moving out of the way. They're not clearing a hole. They're not doing anything more than all but willing you to make an ass of yourself. Another point of conversation that they'll have at your expense.
I'm sure it's not her first rodeo in this regard, so she will try to, vomit somewhere more appropriate if she cannot keep it down. At least long enough to vomit somewhere more appropriate later.
All right. Let's see how she does. Would you be so kind to roll your composure? And you got a choice here. You can use your performance, your persuasion, or technically your etiquette in this particular situation to either the best place to do so without making an ass of yourself, acting as if you don't have to any longer and keeping it down just long enough to get past them to the restroom or outside, or choosing the person that they'll laugh at harder for being covered in it.
I wish my etiquette pool was better so that I could take the last one, but I will go with persuasion.
All right, make it happen. Kindred abhor fire. Even the thought of it causes a cool, slick feeling of being covered in flop sweat to arise. The cachaça that you swallowed or tried to went down the wrong pipe because it went down your throat. Nothing goes down your throat save blood. And it rockets up and out. And somehow you manage to turn so that it seems to those immediately not paying all that much attention as if you just needed a moment to wipe away a tear and keep from giving in to the pressures of being made fun of. After all, everyone's had their first time, and even though they are compassionless jackasses, even though they are wild heathens, you are able to play it off as if that was always the only thing happening. Their malicious laughter and pointing and heckling being far too much. You're a little verklempt. The alcohol is getting to you. When in truth, everything that cachaça thought about touching dribbles slowly out of your mouth, rocketing over the balcony, landing just so, missing most of those who are dancing just beneath you. You managed to do so just surreptitiously enough that only thing that your party of ne'er-do-wells catches is the racking sobs that it seems as if you're having. Oh my God, guys, stop. Look, you're making her cry, says the lead mean girl who's purposely calling out your tears as a way of gaining some social standing.
I'm not sure if Haley's ego is going to stand for this treatment. She will, when she turns around, I mean, she's going to, do the traditional wipe the mouth and all that before she does so. But when she turns around, the awe is going to go up.
Opposites attract. There's always an aphorism that people use. Slow Chestnut has tried it out, and it's used to explain that in certain relationships, it's the pieces of you that seem to be missing, are not quite as well developed, are the parts of your partners, your friends, your social group that attracts you to them. The pieces of you that you see as a loss or not well developed enough or simply not there are the parts of your social group that draws you in, that helps you be more of who you are always meant to be. Awe, that heady, bright, flashy nothingness, because no one can ever put their finger on when it's in effect, when it's happening, when some kindred is using the gifts of the blood to make themselves more or less. Hits all of those check marks, ticks all of those boxes, and the eyes are now focused on you. Sips are being done, snorts are being inhaled, and you can catch out of the corner of your eyes another pill sliding in places where it shouldn't. The server is growing more frustrated by the day. It is clear that underneath all of the quiet charm of being able to bite his tongue, that there is a fighter there. Someone who would much rather stand up to the petty slings and arrows of social abuse, but knows which side his butter is bread on. He knows that this is just an icing on the top of the cake. He knows that the substance of his existence is in fact elsewhere in this club, is elsewhere in this building, and if he can survive the night, he can get back to that which will sustain him, but just barely so. And even he has eyes that are a labor to pull away from Haley. And speaking of that labor, of that suddenly bright presence, that people who are near enough to see the brief flickering glint of her are drawn to her. Across the balcony on the other side, the glass doesn't break because it is well made. Silk was nothing if not stylish and functional. Even the glassware was designed with the idea of kindred with other strengths at their disposal. So while it creaks, it doesn't crack. And while the shadows undulate, they don't attack, they don't lunge, they don't make strange shapes of ferocious beasts in this attempt to swallow him whole. But the pressure is there. And he's yet to turn the full weight of his charm onto Nikki. But it is very clear that it's only so long that he can keep poking the bear that is Gigi's pride. It's only so long that he can keep tossing off on Mott's design to give him an elevated position for his ego. Do either of you all have either etiquette or politics at 2 or higher?
Politics for me is 3.
As annoying as it is, as base and de rigueur as it is clear what he is doing. He is purposefully taking out the strongest potential opponent. He is doing exactly what playboys of the late 90s and early 2000s determined was the most effective way to remain on someone's mind, to make them try for your attention, to make them fight their natural reservations to get your attention, to prove your worth by having them do it for you. He is socially negging Gigi to get her riled up on purpose.
Once that thought enters her mind, she goes into lawyer mode. She goes into that court shark mode and goes calm. Sips her drink as if she is unbothered and just smiles at him.
It's good, right? It's probably more than you're accustomed to. We don't have any, what do they call it? Wild Irish.
Is it a whiskey or what is it?
Oh, it's a wine. It is the peariest of fruity with a hint of apple Chardonnay you have ever inhaled.
I'm guessing Gigi would have had better at some point.
Most assuredly during her living years. Does she swallow? Is the question. Does she attempt to imbibe all of that glorious, potential destructive liquid?
Okay, she has eat food. Would that count?
Yes, it would. But it's still destructive. It very much is considered low-brow to be partaking of such human mortal in the presence of a kindred. Silk would never.
No, she's not going to drink it. She's going to just let very little bit touch her lips and delicious, and put the glass down.
Well, I guess we're done drinking. What about you? Isn't it good? Alright, seems that we're having a small bit of technical difficulties. We're going to move right on past with Nikki and...
I'm here. I didn't
He asked you, was it good?
Oh. Yes. It was quite pleasant. Sorry about that.
Drinking is drinking in the right company is something who can outgrow soon. It's a childish thing amongst the younger kindred that is done. Amongst kindred of standing, particularly corridor, a certain level, certain age, certain understanding, it is not done. And as the swill, the ashen, molten waste dribbles down your throat. Would you be so kind as to roll your composure and performance to keep it from exploding up and out of you?
That roll's just for Nikki, right?
Yes. Taco Bell
Damn, sorry. One success. Oh, I was muted. Sorry.
Taco Bell is good eats. It's good drunk food. It's good late night because it's usually one of the few things that is open late night. And after a certain age and after a certain level of non-drunkenness, it becomes just fodder to test the strength and mechanical aptitude of your toiletry. That's very much what Nikki is feeling in the moment. There's bubble guts, and then there's what she has. She has Mount Vesuvius erupting inside her being. She manages to bite down on her gorge as it rises, but just barely so. She needs a space to evacuate things, otherwise there's no telling how much of a mess she may make.
Can't she make it to the bathroom?
Setting her glass down, Nikki takes off as if she's been shot, as if she's running for the Olympic gold with hellhounds at her heels. She has not been here often enough to have the floor plan completely memorized, but she knows which way should lead to a door out or the restroom. And she takes off like a flash of lightning. She's gone. The moment you all are alone, Tyven sighs. I was going to take you to your suite, but do you think we should wait for your girlfriend?
Actually, she probably just went to go find our friend Haley, but I think I see her over across the way there.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll wait.
Yes.
But actually, no, I should be good to go sit. You can just show her where I am afterwards.
Now, why should I take... Fine. But you need to stop them. And Tyven points across the way. Haley is lit up like a Christmas tree. It's hard not taking in just how alluring she is. And you know for a fact that part of that idea is from your beast. Because she looks like what you need in this moment. A good drop of human blood. A good supping is always appreciated. And it calms the nerves. It makes everything better. She looks like Christmas morning.
On second thought, which room did you say we're getting? I'll go get him myself. Seeing as how you would like me to stop her from getting all that attention.
I'll come with you. I want to see how you handle things, which means you are a lawyer. You know how to talk to people. Maybe I can learn a thing or something.
Doesn't even bat an eyebrow. Just nods and then turns on her heel and heads towards. Is there a way to go around the upper floor, or does she have to go back down through the dance floor and then up?
There's several ways to get up to that balcony. You can take the long way around, or you can head down and across. Either one are both valid and viable, though heading down through the dance floor seems precipitously more costly as far as time. Eyes are turning towards Haley. People are stumbling over their words as they catch her out of the corner of their eye. There's a movie star quality that she has about her.
Yeah, then I'm gonna go around top floor.
With all up, what is it that Haley's attempting to do? The eyes are turning in her direction. The lips are hanging open between words. You see the jests and laughs coming more nervously instead of maliciously.
She is gonna wade her way deeper into the group, wave someone out of her way, and sit down next to the person who is the center of attention. Like, haha, I am the center of attention now.
There's a chestnut that's tried out. To be the king, you have to kill the king. To be the man, you have to kill the man. Haley has managed to do so without any physical bloodletting. But the fact that the attention, even with all of the mean jokes and jesting and the clawing and fighting proposition that had been being done within this strange social predatory group, she's managed to usurp that attention. She's managed to steal the spotlight. She has managed to become the sun in which this galaxy orbits around. And the lead guy rests his hand on her knee the moment that she settles. Pats it and like she, of course, finally came to her senses.
She will snuggle right in there like she owns the place.
And so, you see a little kindness, and he pats her thigh, and he's clearly showing off, and he's clearly marking her as his territory. It is the circle of life happening in microcosm. The king of these particular beasts claiming you as his prey, claiming you as his sport, claiming you as his mate, all in one fell swoop. And just as you are sidling into the attention, just as people are growing accustomed to staring longingly into your face, Gigi and some effeminate, tall, thin male appear up out of the darkness, sliding past the servers and the other looky-loos and hangers-on till they are in the presence of this group. Hey man, I don't know who you guys are, but y'all clearly are in the wrong section. There's people with money. Why don't y'all go find something to do? Really? You don't know who club you in, boy? I know that this is my VIP section and you shouldn't be here, ma'am, or your girlfriend. This ain't Orange is the New Black. Y'all can go on wherever y'all going.
Looking specifically just at him, because while she's not playing that game with Tybin, she gives no fucks about this person in front of her. She lets the black bleed entirely into her gaze and stares at him. Kaylee, darling, we got a suite if you would like to come along. You can bring your little friend. We could always use a jester of sorts, I'm assured.
What about plural? What if I've got many friends?
Go pick a couple that you really like and let them come on. But we have things to do.
It immediately dawns on her how fun picking a couple is going to be. So she starts to make a big show of that. Might even do the eeny, meeny, miny thing.
It doesn't take long for them to begin turning on themselves. The knives come out, the layers, the daggers. Like, I'm not sticking around for this. I don't even know who this person's supposed to be. And so forth and so on and so on and so on. She likes girls anyway. I don't get down for that. I don't know what the heck this is about. And so on and so on and so on. Unfortunately for them, as much social presence as they think they might have, the true power of the blood does not allow the attention to be stolen as they are working towards. It doesn't allow them to do more than in their attempt to defend themselves and prove why they don't need to do any of this, to prove just how glowing Haley is, to prove how interesting she seems to be, to prove how this is only the brightest of things that have happened, to be touched by this particular angel in all the dirtiest of ways, to spend time in the presence of this celestial being is what they're after. Takes a little bit of time, takes a little bit of effort, but before you all realize it, you're in your suite. Moments have passed, one thing leads to the next. Blood is had, members are drunk. The bloodletting and the effect of the kiss magnifying the already potent drugs in their system. The outcome inevitable. There's only so many ends you can burn the candle from, and they exhausted theirs. Just as the last member of the party is sipped on until they slip into unconsciousness between the four of you all, Baron Stephen slips into your suite. Waiting by the door, those tall, high-backed chairs near the phone, which only dials one number inside the building. Then the same sort of phone that Silk picked up and just breathed into, that her wishes and wants were executed. Same phone that Tyven has had to call on several times to get someone down to help get these particular non-donor guests out of the room. The phones that Tyven has all but yelled into twice, if you discount the first two times. And Baron Stevens is there, waiting for things to be cleaned up. And once you all are alone, you, Baron Stevens, Tyven waiting outside the room. She settles in and just waits.
Gigi rolls her shoulders and feeling much better now that she's had a little bit of something to drink and take the edge off. Good evening, Baron Stevens. Thank you so much for attending us this evening. I know it is short notice. We have the information you have requested we gather. Unfortunately, the person you sent us to gather is no more. They don't exist anymore. Last I saw them, they were desiccating to dust in a body bag. And could not be retrieved.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
They weren't where we thought they would be. They were in Walkerton. I don't know how much you know about Walkerton, but it is a very, very strange place. seems that cult that runs Walkerton were people that had Arthur and had staked him. It also seems that our lovely foe Tremere is no longer wishing to be part of Gary's up and coming. They attempted to sell us to the cult or trade us to the cult for freedom and were left behind.
And Artie died. I miss Artie. He was my friend. It was very sad.
I was going to ask, but I decided not to. I was told that the reason why successful lawyers are successful, they never ask questions they don't already have an answer to. And that the reason why successful lawyers lose is because they only look at it from there being one possible answer. I know there's a multiplicity of things, a veritable cornucopia of things that could be why someone might withhold information. So I don't want to assume. I don't want to think that there's only one answer. I know an answer, but I don't want to think that it's the only one. So to clear the air and to start our new friendship on the right foot, is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
Kind of high right now.
She is thinking really, really hard because she's trying to figure out what it is that Baron Stevens wants her to answer. Is that something I can roll for?
Yes. Your DC is 3. You're going to roll either your wits and insight or your wits and politics.
Also, I have no idea who you are, but she seems to be afraid of you, so I should probably be afraid of you too.
There's no reason to be afraid of anyone or anything. We all gonna die eventually.
That's what I always say. Yeah, fuck it, right? You just live once. Well, I guess twice in our case, right?
That's one way of looking at it. But I've done a lot to make sure that I can be as respected as I possibly can. I've done a lot to protect my city.
Oh, you're that person, like what was it? The Baron? Is that what it's called?
Yes, Haley. I'm Baron Stevens.
What's your first name? Because it can't be Stevens.
Really? You think that's not possible?
Well, it'd be very strange if your name was Stevens. But I suppose maybe your parents didn't like you and they have done that to you.
No, I had loving parents. It was life that wasn't as kind to me as it should have been.
I also had loving parents. I mean, they didn't love me, but they were loving.
It kind of almost smacks her upside the head, and she just goes wide. Oh shit, yeah. Okay. Warrington was down in Walkerton, and as part of the way to get out of Walkerton, we took Warrington, and he decided to cut and run when we stopped at Pompey's overnight to avoid the sun. So now he's out and about, and he said he was heading this way. So I don't know what it is. He may or may not have told you when he got here. But, yeah, we found him in Walkerton and broke him out, and he was not quite grateful enough doing so.
Haley, being Haley, will shoot a quick sidelong glance at Gigi for not mentioning that he cut out because we killed someone.
My brother, who I look up to, has a saying. If it's close enough to the truth to be a lie, give credit where credit's due, but don't believe anything else a person says. It's a long saying, but he's prone to doing speeches, rousing testaments to get his men riled up so that they can overachieve, which isn't saying much considering the field that he's in and how easy it is to overachieve. I mean, the expectations are literally on the floor. But he does these big speeches all the time, and he says things like that. He has like a message of the day. I was told, as you all wouldn't give me the full truth. I bet on you all that you would, either accidentally or on purpose. Luckily for you all, I am a woman of my word. I said that we would be friends. There wouldn't be any harm, no foul of what came before, and there won't be. What you all did in service of Mr. Farmer to make sure that I wouldn't be here. What you all did in support of Mr. Farmer to undermine our new normal, our new now, will be forgiven. And you all can thank my friend for that. And she leans back and raises her voice a little bit to yell out the door. You can escort them in now. And you smell them before you see them. Such rich working cologne mask the scent of death that all kindred carry with them. It's the absence of a scent. Like, kindred only smell like where they were. They themselves don't produce any of the oils necessary to keep a scent or a fragrance about themselves. So the few knowledgeable kindred that have been around for a while tend to keep cologne or perfume on them that they can constantly reapply. And they typically find colognes and perfumes that are musky and have a little bit of testosterone or a little bit of pheromones or a little bit of estrogen in them to add to the illusion of them being alive. So as you catch a whiff as the door opens and Maxwell steps in. Good evening, children. How are we?
Hey, it's that guy. We know him. He has returned, but with a lot of Axe body spray. This was a poor choice.
No. Not Axe. I can understand why some younger individuals might believe so. So we have a proposition.
It's not going to end up with pictures of him on the internet, is it?
Very much likely. So it began in Washington, D.C. A little more than 3 decades ago.
Oh, I know. Was it grunge?
Wrong coast. State, not city. There was an effort made to, and with that, as he begins regaling the many steps that have led him, Farmer, here, and the deep ties that Farmer has had to the Camarilla the entire time from his creation until now, and what lay ahead for the coterie, literally with you all being the first and only operational anarchs using Camarilla tactics from a former prince to achieve the goal of peace in Gary. I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode. The last bi-weekly episode of Steel Hearts, Rusted Souls. I will see you all next month. And again, in about 2 weeks so that we can start the brew. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.